Hi friends, it's Claire from ScrappyNerdUK and welcome to bonus video number 2 from my 6x6x6 paper pad series. Now this is the quickest mini album in the whole world. So if you've never made a mini album before, or if you like to make them but you want to try something different, this is a mini album on a little bit of a smaller scale, and I am just using 6x6 pattern paper to do this. So I'm going to make an acetate cover for my mini album. You don't need to do this, but I'm going to do it as my outer cover. Now, if you wanted to use pattern paper instead, that's perfectly fine as well. So I've got this piece of acetate measures 7.5 by 3.25. And then I've scored on the long way at 3.25, flipped it round and scored at 3.25 again. So that's going to give you a 1 inch spine. Now I'm just going to go through the pattern papers that I want to use. Now that geometric one that I was going to use, where I'd torn a little bit of it where I was tearing out the page, because I'm using the whole 6 inch piece of paper, that's not going to be any good for me. So I just choose some that are going to work. And all I'm doing here, I'm just tearing off that perforated edge, or cutting off the perforated edge, and then just chopping the 6 by 6 paper into 2 3 by 6 inch strips. So it's going to be roughly, I know I'm going to lose a little bit where I've just taken that edge off, and it's not going to bother me. It's all going to be fine in the end. So I left the whole process in for you to see how quick and how easy this actually is. So if you've never made a mini album, I really encourage you and I really urge you to give this a go. It will come together so quickly. So that the video itself was 20 minutes, just over 20 minutes long. And this video, I've just sped it up twice the speed, so it's quick enough to get through the boring bits like this, but not so quick that you can't follow along. And I suggest that you watch it back many times if you need to. And this is one that you could do over and over again, getting all those 6x6 paper pads used up. Make your friends, make your family a little mini album. These are great little gifts. So all I'm doing here is I'm just using the little gully on my trimmer to score these at 3 inches. You don't necessarily need to do that. If you're confident just folding the paper in half, then that will work as well. So just going through all of these papers. Now I haven't decided how many I wanted to use. So I just start cutting them and scoring them, and I'm going to figure out roughly. I do fold all of them, but I don't end up using all of them in this, and you'll see why. So I think I pulled 8 papers, and I think I end up using 6 of them. So how many you use will just depend on how many photos you want to include in the album, how heavily embellished you want it to be as well. So all I'm doing here is just this is just a bone folder. If you don't have a bone folder, you can use the edge of a pair of scissors, not the sharp edge, the handle. And this is just going to really burnish that crease into the fold. And this will help it fold nice and flat when it goes into the cover. So I'm just going to start with one piece here. So I'm just figuring out which way this needs to go to open out correctly. So with the pattern paper facing you watch out, I will flip it back. Ignore what I'm doing right here. I'm just messing around. So with the pattern paper on the outside, like a book, that is going to attach to the back of the acetate or the pattern paper, whichever you've chosen to use. And then all I'm doing, if you just think about it, you want to stick the white to the white, and we're going to create a concertina fold with this one. And I'm just going to alternate the pattern papers, and I'll just be mindful that the patterns all go the same way. So you want all of the patterns to go up like this. So that's up, facing upwards. And I do find that wet glue is the best to stick things like this down, because it does give you that time to wiggle it into place. Make sure it's nice and straight. Now I am ending up with slight little bits of overhang and slight tiny amounts of little bits of white showing through, but that's just where I've trimmed off the perforation from the 6x6 pad. So if it's going to bother you, you could go through and make sure that both of the strips that you use are exactly the same size, but it's really not going to bother me, so I'm not too fussed about it. So again, just carrying on going through and having the back sides all glued to each other. So one opening to the left, one opening to the right, and this creates a really nice concertina effect. So I'm just going through and having a look where my patterns sit, just to make sure that I've got an even split of the patterns throughout the album. And I know that this process here, I could have cut it out, but I just wanted to show you that everything I've done here has taken me 20 minutes. So 20 minutes to create a mini album is crazy. And to be fair, within that, I do show you some little tips and tricks as to how you can add pockets into the mini album as well. So if you wanted to tuck photos or tuck embellishments or tags or anything like that, then I'll show you how to do that in this little mini album as well. So again, I'm just making sure that those creases and those folds are nice and flat as I go along. And then I'm going to trial that in the cover, because I don't want it to fill completely the acetate cover, because I'm not going to be able to get many photos or embellishments in. And then I do decide that I want the heart paper on the front, so I just add one more in, and that is the inside of my mini album complete. Now, the only trouble with using acetate is the glue will obviously show through. Now, what I've done here, I am going to go back and fix this. What I've done here is I used some double-sided tape, because this is probably going to stick the pattern paper to that acetate the best. And you see I completely messed it up and I had to pull it off and redo it. So using wet glue is not going to work. I'm not sure whether glossy accents will work. Again, you're going to have the same problem with it showing through. Now, what I did, sorry for my head in the way there, what I did, so you see it looks awful, is I did go through and I found a chipboard piece. Now I am going to pull the chipboard piece off, which I don't do in this video, but I am going to pull the chipboard sheet off, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick another bit of the pattern paper to the back. So that will cover the area fully. When I went through the embellishments, I found that I didn't have anything quite big enough to stick over the double-sided tape area. And again, I've left that in because I want you to see that things like that can be easily fixed. There's always an embellishment or a bit of paper that can be stuck over to get it covered up. So as it's gone in, you've got one, where it's been stuck in, you have got one area of the backside of the pattern paper. So all I've done is just cut one of the others down into a 3x3 inch square, and I've stuck that on. And there's another one there that needs to be done. So I'm just going to show you here how to create a pocket. So I'm just going to put some, this is thinner double-sided tape. We don't want it too thick, so we want enough space in the pocket in order to tuck something in. So I'm just pulling off the double-sided tape, and then I'm just going to smush these two together, and that is going to create my pocket. in my album. So you can do pockets that go to the top, and if you have the tape at the top and the bottom, then you can have the pockets coming out the side. So this is a great way to add in little movable elements, interactive things in the mini album also. So I'm just showing you here, if you just grab two that you're quite happy to sort of stick together, top and the bottom, and then it will give you your side loading pocket instead. So this is pretty much it. So I hope you've enjoyed this really quick tutorial on a mini album. This is the end of 6x6x6, but stay tuned this weekend for an announcement for my next series. Give this video a thumbs up, subscribe and all that jazz, and I'll see you all very, very, very soon. Take care. Bye.